we get it today. So let's take a big breath in and get started. Oh, I know it's uber hot in some places. I don't know when or how people are going to be working out. Hopefully they find some time where it's not quite so brutal. And some people are traveling. So this morning it's just me and Beth. And we'll circle around. And I thought about this workout number 2. Let's go the other way. And thought 30 seconds when we're doing right and left is just ridiculous. So I had a couple of thoughts. Let's bring our hands down to our shoulders and do elbow circles. I thought there are a bunch of birthdays this month, so we could do repetitions in honor of those birthdays. And then I realized we're not so close to 21 as we would like. And so, so I thought even 21 reps doesn't quite work with this workout. So I think we'll just do everything for a minute. That's so simple, isn't it? So pull your shoulder blades back. We'll make our little shoulder circles. Circling forward. And we'll see how that goes. I think it'll be a lot smoother. 18, 19, 20, flip your thumbs, keep those shoulder blades pinched together, and we'll circle back. Good, and let's do doorknobs, but focusing on the rotation of your arm in the shoulder socket. There you go. A little bit of a back stretch as you roll those shoulders forward, a little bit of a front shoulder stretch as you go back. I'll let your arms drop down gently and slowly. And I'll do some arm swings. Everything loosen up. Get the blood flowing. Good. Okay. Let's take hands on hips. Show some attitude. So now I have to remember what stories I told on Tuesday that you never heard. So, and one of them was I was visiting my mother-in-law who's 100 and a half, still does her exercises every day. In the last year, she's learned how to do, let's go the other way, learned how to do them all. She used to do them seated in a chair for safety, or holding on to a chair, which was fine. But when she was seated, she always leaned back against the chair. And I got her to sit forward so that she wasn't using the chairs for support. And at first she complained mightily that her back hurt, that she was sore, that she was working too hard. But now she's doing it without even thinking about it. So I'm really proud of her for that. But then she said, well, I see you doing this other stuff with your class and your clients. For mobility, you do this, well, she didn't say for mobility, that's my words. She said, you do all this stretching. Should I be doing some stretching too? So I took her through this routine, holding onto a chair as needed. And we got to our figure eights. And she looked at me, she goes, Debbie, that's lewd. I said, no, it's not lewd. Your hips are supposed to move. And so we wrote this one down so she would remember what it was. Let's come down to the knees. As Elvis the pelvis move. So her caregivers will know what she's supposed to be doing because everybody knows Elvis the pelvis. But that was very funny. Let's go the other way, reverse direction. And finally, let's wake up the ankles. We got some jumping ahead of us. So make sure your feet are warmed up, your ankles are nice and warm. Get those cracks out. Not crackle pop. Good, and let's switch sides. Going to the other side. Really working that ankle. Let's go the other way. Let's take our feet nice and wide, big straddle. Let's start going side to side. Sink down a little bit lower if you can. Nice. 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's hold it on your right. And pulse, little pulses, seeing if you can come down just a little bit lower. Get a nice big stretch. And then nice and easy, up and over. Little pulses on the other side. And then let's come to center. Can't forget the upper body as to our shoulder drops. I don't know about you, but this is one of those parts of the warm up where if I forget to do it or sidestep in favor of doing something else, this is what I miss. Getting that big stretch all the way through that middle back. Okay, even up your sides. I think we're all going at a different pace. And let's come back to center and sink down. And just little shifts right and left. See how your ankles feel. Check that you're not pushing through your knees. We're going to bring our hands down to the floor and let's do 4 bottoms up. Oh, stretch those hips up. Keep your hands on the floor. 2, 3, and 4. Sink it down. Let's bring our arms up and stand. So let's do about 3 more fold squat stands. Fold, squat, arms up, and stand. Beautiful. Fold, squat, arms up, and stand. Last one because I can't count. Down, up, and stand. Good. So let's do just some quick hip openers. 6, 8. And a couple more things, and then we'll get into the work. So let's find your balance on your right leg. Take your left leg out, point your toe. We'll do our little wiggles. If you got a better name for this, I'm all ears. So, woo-hoo. Hands wherever you need them for balance. And then we're going to rotate from the hip and lift up. So your standing leg, that hip should be firing all cylinders, keeping you stable. Looks great. And let's switch sides. So left leg, right leg is out, point your toes. And wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Then we're going to rotate and lift up. You got it. Nice. See if you can rotate so that ankle comes up to the ceiling. Hold on if you need to. Good. Bring our heels together and we'll keep working that midline, keep working those ankles. Do about 10 lifts. And then let's hinge over. So I want you to, if you put your hands on your butt, you're going to feel those glutes working. They're engaged, your abs are engaged. Let your arms dangle down and pull your shoulders back down away from your ears. We're going to do eyes, Ys, Ts, and scarecrows from this position. So we're going to lift up against gravity. 2, 3, we'll do about 6 in each direction. So eyes are straight in front, Ys come out to the corners of your room. Pull with your back muscles, wake up your back. Tease our pinkies up out to the walls on either side of you. 6, then hold your arms up and let your hands fall down to the floor and rotate your hands up. So is the shoulder rotation. 4, 5, and 6. Good. Let's wake up our wrists. And then we'll come down on the floor and we'll do our plank combination. And switch sides. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. And we'll make waves while we can. For anyone who's by the ocean, these waves are for you. And reverse. Good. Grab a drink of water. We'll come down on the floor. So week 2, we learned the moves last week. We had some funky timing last week too, but we learned the moves. We're just going to groove the moves this week. And next week and the week after, we'll amp up the challenge a little bit. But we're going to start on our elbows in a plank. And we're going to alternate side planks. I think we did 8 last week. So let's go for 10 today. So front plank, rotating all the way up to 90 degrees perpendicular to the floor, reaching for the ceiling, coming back down, rotating up to the other side. This is 3 and 4. Go at your own pace. 5 and 6, 7. Abs are tight, glutes are working. And 8. Good. And then stretch back into child's pose for about 10 seconds and come back with a weight. It's going to be much nicer to do with the weight than with the band. So I've got the 12-pound weight, and what we're doing with the weight, which I couldn't really show you last week in the video because I was using a band at my mother-in-law's. Tuesday was even funnier because I was only using water bottles. They don't weigh very much, and I was worried if I dragged them, I would crush them. I want you to, here, I'll show you this one. Can you see all right? So the weight is going to be on the outside of your hand. You're going to reach underneath and try to press down into the floor as you're dragging it across. And that pressing down is important because we're not trying to pick up. We don't want to hurt your back, but pressing down creates the force that makes your abs work a lot harder. We're working the pillar between your shoulders and your hips, and we want that to get nice and strong. So let me actually do it this way. So you can do it from your hands and knees. You can do it from a hover. I'm starting from a plank with my feet nice and wide to give myself stability. I'm going to grab that weight, push it down and grab it across, drag it across, and then reach underneath and drag it back again. So we're going to go for 8 more. And when you're all done, come into child's pose, and we'll repeat those 2 core exercises. it another 10, 15 seconds, catch your breath. So there's a reason why you can hold planks. And there are people who focus on how long they can hold their plank for. But in real life, we don't hold planks. We don't. We're moving. Our arms are moving, our legs are moving, we're shifting, we're carrying, we're pushing, we're pulling. So holding a plank shows that you've got great strength. But if that strength doesn't help you move things or move through your day any better, then it's of limited use, I think. So let's come back and work on rotations. So come into our side plank on our elbows. You could do this from your knees. It's a little trickier because you want both knees to rotate all the way up. Try doing it from your toes and come up. We're going for 10. If you get 3 and you feel like you're done, you're done. That's for the people watching this after the fact. No, it's for anyone. If you feel like you're done, you're done. You don't need to force it. Form always trumps everything else. And let's come into a rest in child's pose, 10, 15 seconds. And we'll go right back into our drags. So come up, find your plank, find your hands and knees, find your hover, bring your knees are up. If you're doing it from hands and knees, you want to make sure you're not shifting your body all over the place. If you're doing it from a hover, you want to have your feet wide, just like you do in a plank. And let's go. 9. Pressing down into the floor, creating friction. And when you've done 10 to 12, come all the way down. Okay. And we can put the weight away. And while your heart rate is still up a little bit, I know mine is. I'm going to grab a quick sip. And we have our split squat jumps. So remember, you don't actually need to leave the floor. So we're setting up like we would for a split squat, where we're sinking down and up. If you're not doing a plyo, we're going slow, 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 slow. As low as you can go, you don't have to hit the floor, and then up fast. So we're working different muscle fibers each way. Down and up. So what do we do? 4 on each side. Last time, let's go for 6 on each side this time. And it can look like this. You can bring your arms up. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we'll set up on the other side. Slow, 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 up. Slow, 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 up. 3, I'm going to do the last 3. 2, 3. Nice. And everybody's a little different. Sometimes it's harder going slow and holding your balance when you come up fast. And sometimes it's harder holding your balance when you're jumping. One thing to notice while my heart rate comes down and yours comes down too, is how even you feel on each side. I noticed it's been 4 years since I had surgery on this knee, and I haven't been working a lot of power on single side. My right leg compensates a lot for my left. So my split squat on this side has a noticeable less amount of spring to it. Maybe you're noticing the same thing, and that's just something that you can work on your own. It's something I thought I overcame until until I started doing this. I said, oh, okay, we have work to do. So we're going to go into our 6 exercises. Each one is going for 1 minute. We have our stiff-legged single leg deadlift with the row. That was a terrible demonstration. We'll get to it when I show you. I'll show you when we get to it. We're going to do surrenders where we go down, down, up, up. And this time we're going to do weights with it. And if you can't go down on your knees, you can still do the upper body weights, right? We're going to do a seated row in rotation. So you will need to have a band, a flat band or tubing that's stretchy. And we're going to be doing some leg lifts and clamshells with rotations. And so we'll need one of our mini loop bands as well. And then we have a mobility drill. So I think that covers it. So grab your weights that you're going to use for rowing. So a single leg row, if you start on your right leg, you can have your left leg back as a kickstand, hinge over. 2 ways of doing this. One is you can either have the kickstand or your leg up. Those are your 2 leg position choices. The arms, you can do 8 rows while you're balancing, or you can come up in between each time. So hinge over, row, and stand. Hinge, row, and stand. It'll take a little bit longer. It's all where your balance is. Exactly. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why am I counting? We're going for time. So about 30 seconds in, we'll switch sides. You can put your back foot down as a kickstand anytime. And let's switch. So make sure you're not hunching through your shoulders. About 5 seconds left. 3, 2, and 1. Whew. A minute of rowing is a minute of rowing. Good job. So we're going to come to surrenders. We'll start in 5 seconds. Make sure you're alternating, or check in that you're alternating your lead legs. So we're going down, down, up, up, down. Remember, you're going your pace. There's no right or wrong. There's no target number. Up, up. Good. We're halfway through. If you've not been able to get up and down off the floor and you get 1 done, that is a win. And if you're watching me wondering how I'm doing this, you have to remember, I've been doing this kind of thing for most of my adult life. Not this one exactly, but you get my idea. 3, 2, and 1. You can stay on the floor if you can reach your band. So since we all got video cameras in our cars, Nobody looks over their shoulders anymore, or most people don't. Some people do out of habit, but we're gonna do this on both sides. And I want you to imagine you're pulling that band and looking over your shoulder. And we're gonna start in 3, 2, and 1. Reach and pull. You're rotating through your upper back. 3, and away I'm counting. Arms are nice and open. And switch sides. So you can't look over the other seat in the car, in their imaginary car. If your elbow is like this is a regular row. I want you to have a nice, like a fly, like you're doing a chest fly, where your arms are nice and wide and open. Okay, 30 seconds. Let's go. Side 2. Nice. You get to adjust the slack in your band as you need to. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, we're staying on the floor. Oh, my props are getting piled up. We're going to reach for our loop band and put it above our knees. So we'll play around with this over time as well. I think this week we'll stick with the basics. We'll come into a side bridge. You've seen those before. You can do it from your elbow or you can do it from your hand, whichever is comfortable, as long as your shoulder is directly over whatever is propping you up. Imagine you're against a wall. Feet, hips, and shoulders are against the wall. Your knees are bent forward. We'll come up into our side plank from here. And we'll do our clamshell. We'll do this for about 15 seconds. And then we're going to lift that leg up and lift the whole leg. So your knee and your foot are moving together. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice work. Let's go to the other side. Find your alignment. Feet, hips, shoulders should be all, if you had a wall behind you, you don't need to have one, but if you had one, you would be touching those 3 points. We'll come up into our side plank and we'll start about 10 seconds of clamshells, and then we'll go into abduction. And then let's lift that whole leg together. Make that butt work. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Bring it down. You can keep the band around the knees if you want. I don't know. We'll play. Let's make an experiment. I'm not sure how it will help doing our reverse Nordics. So reverse Nordic is a foreign name to most of you. It's not the easiest move, but knees are apart. You're pressing against the band. Toes are pressing together. I'll do this from the side. And what we're doing is squeezing the bum. So you're in a straight line. You should be anyway, from your shoulders to your knees, through your hips. So we're not like this. And then we're going to lean back. And you can use your hands reaching back, find your heels, and come up. It's the rare person who can go all the way back. Most knees can't handle that. We're working through your quads, tops of your thighs. Make sure you're breathing. I know this feels like a stretch, but what you're doing is working these muscles as you're lengthening them, and they have a lot of capacity for doing a lot of work as they're lengthening. It's like downhill training without actually having to step downhill. Good, and rest. Let's take the band off. And our last minute through the cycle is mobility. Some of you may or may not like it. Adjust it, make it what you want. These are our lunging windmills. So we start in a plank, step our foot out to the outside of that hand, rotate one way, towards the leg that's in front is the easy way. Getting that rotation in the other direction is the challenge. So we're going to start a minute now. Take your time, enjoy that stretch. There's no race for this. Just check in with your body, see how it's feeling. See if you can get a little bit more rotation on the challenging side. Most of us are rotated just a little bit through the spine, which might make opening to one side easier or harder. We have about 15 seconds left. And then we're going to take 2 minutes. Last one. Good. And come down, come into child's pose. Make a stretch, mop your brow. I am getting as warm back in Mammoth as I was in Seattle. Oh, it's wild. I don't think you guys are used to seeing me sweat so much. Or glisten, as it were. So another minute and a half, grab some water, move your body the way it needs to be moved. Could be moving side to side. You might want to do some hip circles if your hips have been working really hard, or if you've been feeling it, they have been working hard. It's whether or not you're feeling it. Or maybe ragdoll, just letting your body hang, letting your neck relax. You have another 40 seconds. Take your time. So try to remember where your weights are. It's your 15-second warning. And we'll go into our single leg deadlifts. With the row. And your choice. You know, to some extent, it's not that one position is more challenging than the other, it's which you want to challenge yourself with. So if you're going down, rowing and coming up, you're going to be working more in the hips. If you're staying over and rowing, you're working through your back, you're still working your hip, but it's a little bit different. So it's whatever you feel like emphasizing this time around. Okay, let's hit it on side one. 30 seconds here. You do about 15 seconds of each. I can't look around and do this. Just possible with a kickstand. You don't have to worry about balance. You could move more weight, so you get a better all over workout, but I'm not picky. Switch sides, 30 seconds here. Again, the balancing one is more finding your stability through your core and your spine. Let's put the weights down, at least the bigger weights down. Well, some part of your body is moving, that can throw you off balance. So, 6 and 1, half the other. We have a month to explore this very interesting move. Okay, let's grab our weights. 3, 2, 1, it's time to surrender. And up. Remember, you're going at your own pace. Weights come up as you go up. Weights come down as you go down. And if you're trying to follow along with me, just know that I'm as bad as remembering to alternate my feet as you probably are. So you don't have to copy me. Just pay attention to what your body is doing, which legs you're moving, and try to do better than me. That's your challenge. We have 20 seconds left. Up and down off the floor. Whew. And rest. So if weight loss has been your jam, think about how much weight you've been holding in your hands. And if you've lost that amount, so I had 2 5s, so I had 10 pounds. That's what it would have felt if I weighed 10 pounds more. So congratulate yourself on being able to move more easily, more weight, more strength, more endurance. And I'm wasting time. We're coming down to the floor. Oh boy. Heat will take it out of you. Hope you all remember to stay hydrated. We're doing our rows and rotations. I'm going to start on my left side first. So anchor one under the band so you're not holding it. Hold on to your leg. And then work the band. 30 seconds aside. Exhale as you pull. And let's switch. Arms nice and open. A little rotation through the rib cage. Big squeeze of that shoulder blade in towards your spine. Nice. Excellent. We have 5 more seconds. And rest. Let's put our flat bands or tubing aside. Grab our loop band or whatever you have that's looping around your knees, giving you a little bit of extra resistance. We'll start in 10 seconds. Okay, coming up into our side plank. I'm going to do 30 seconds aside. So 10 seconds of clamshells, just opening up your knee, your feet stay glued together. Then bringing your legs up to parallel and doing a leg lift. So you want your foot and your knee moving. as a unit. So neither is lagging. Your foot's not kicking up higher or dragging down behind. And let's switch over to the other side. Little butt pivot. And up we go. Hand can be wherever you want it. 10 seconds of clamshells. And then bring that foot up, legs working as a unit. We're not here, not yet anyway. And we're not leading with your knee, letting your foot dangle. Everything is working as a nice solid unit, strong legs. Five, four, three, two, and one. Bring it down. I'm going to keep my band on. Just make a couple of hip circles. Don't know about you, but I am feeling those. I'm feeling everything we've done today. Ooh, okay. So let's set up for our reverse Nordics. So toes are pressing together. That helps make that neural connection so you get a little bit of stability. Your brain is getting the message from your feet. You're in a nice straight line, and we're gonna lean back and forward. I know it's a funny position to be in. It's kind of crazy. It's eccentric. Eccentrics have the, they present the opportunity to be more sore than you've ever been in your life. That's why oftentimes if you do a big downhill walk, you're going down a lot of stairs, you feel it. Your quads are putting on the brakes and working super hard. But they can also work a lot harder going this way than they can doing a leg extension where you're contracting the muscle instead of lengthening it. And it's deceptive. So you do more work because you can do more work. And we're done, and then we're sore. So stretch back into child's pose if you need it. Sit back, take the band off. We have our last bit of work with our lunging windmills. So let's come up into a plank. Step to one side. Maybe you rotate to your left better than your right when one side is constrained. Just notice that open side. It's easier to rotate towards your knee. It's a lot harder to rotate away. And that's where you notice the difference in how your body moves, where you find those restrictions, where you can't quite move so easily. Neither side is easy, but I can tell one side doesn't want to move as well as the other. We have about 15 seconds left. Stay with it. Ooh, last side. Finish it up. And then come back into child's pose. Let your heart rate come down. Take your knees nice and wide. Oh. Let's stretch. Let's start on our backs and maybe we'll work our way up to standing. Sometimes we start up and work our way down. Let's play with it, see what it feels like. So taking your feet wider than your hips. Let's take your knees down to one side and then the other. And then come back to center. Oh, let's try that from tabletop. You can bring your knees together or keep them evenly spaced. And let's twist down one side and then the other. And let's come back to center. Bring your hands onto your knees and make little circles with your knees. And make sure you go in both directions. And then we'll plant both feet on the floor and cross one ankle over the opposite knee. Let's do a little bit of butterfly knee. Knee goes towards your chest, knee goes away from you, forwards and backwards. And then pressing your knee away, let's twist down to the other side. So you want to keep that hip nice and open. And we're going to hang out here for a little while. Don't worry, we will give equal time, equal opportunity to the glute muscles as well. Stay here about 5 more seconds. Hang out. Okay, let's come back up to center and we'll slide that ankle down so you have one knee over the other knee. And let's hug both legs in. So if your left leg is on top, you might feel that stretch through your left hip, through those deeper muscles. If you want to tip over just a tiny bit to your right, I'm not going all the way over. Although if you get a really good stretch and you go all the way over, go for it. I just need to go a little bit into it to get a little bit deeper stretch right in here. And we're going to hold on to that for just a little bit more. And 5 more seconds. And then we're going to do something different. So keeping your legs crossed, bring one foot down. Now we're going to twist in the opposite direction. So the leg that's on top is the weight opening up your opposite hip. Got 10 more seconds here. And let's come up and we'll do everything on the other side. So crossing the other ankle over your knee. Let's butterfly that knee forwards and back. Find the mobility in that hip socket to do that. Strengthen your muscles. Let your muscles find that mobility. We're not always in a position to use our hands to get our muscles into place or our legs into place. Let the muscles do their work while we're stretching them. Hold that knee out. And in a nice open twist, stretch out the front of side 2. And we'll hang out here about 40 seconds, 40, 50 seconds. So let everything start to release. So from holding a plank to doing our jumping split squats, to our single leg deadlifts and our reverse Nordics, we really worked through the hips quite a bit today. Good. Let's come up. Let's slide that top knee over the other knee. Hug both legs in, reaching behind the thighs. Get a nice stretch through your back, through your hip. And then tip a little bit in the direction your top foot is going. My right foot is on top, so I'm gonna tip over just a little bit to the left. And that gets a deeper stretch in my right hip. And we're gonna hold this for a while. Let that muscle open up. Take some deep breaths. Work is over. About 10 more seconds. And that feels so good. I don't want to let it go, but we will. Let's put our foot down and I'm going to use my right leg as the weight, stretching out my left hip just a little bit more. Got 10 more seconds here. Good. And then let's roll all the way over onto our side. Let's have both knees tucked up. Both arms reaching forward. And we'll open like a book. Oh boy. Bring that shoulder down to the floor. I think I'm doing a day of travel in my shoulders and my chest. Oh, it feels good. So you can make it dynamic. You can keep reaching forward and opening up, or you can just hang out there and let gravity do its thing. We're going to stay here another 30 seconds or so. See if you can relax into it, bringing your shoulder down. Always options, always choices. Ten more seconds. And then we'll go over to the other side. All right, let's bring our knees up. Carefully roll over onto the other side. Hold on to your knees. And we'll open up the other way. And I can't see the clock from here, so I'm going to go by feel. We're counting slowly in my head. So if your knees are to the right and your arm is stretched out to the left, and you have no problem looking to the left, that's awesome. If your knees were to the left and your right arm is stretched out and you have no problem looking to the right, that's great. So I was talking about with sidedness is sometimes our spines get rotated a little bit because of our dominant side. Doing the work, muscles getting a little bit shorter or just getting into habitual positions. And let's come out of it. And so same thing with the stretch as we do with the lunging windmills. If you have your knees to one side, and my example is if my knees are here, my arm is there, I have a very hard time rotating to my right because my body wants to rotate to the left. And it's exactly what I was feeling in the windmills. So I don't know if you noticed that or not, but it's something to just notice. There's no instant solution to it. I've been working on it for a while and I still have it. So let's stretch our back just a little bit. Let's do a thread the needle with our child's pose. We worked our shoulders, we worked our backs just a little bit. Let's give them a thank you. Hips down, head down, arms reaching in different directions. And let's switch sides. Sit down, sit your hips down, stretch your arms, stretch your back. And come on up. So just one more thing, if you notice that you are lopsided like that, where one side has a restriction, the other side doesn't, if it's not causing pain in your everyday life, I wouldn't necessarily worry about it, but something that we can bring mindfully into our workouts and try to become a little bit more aware about how our body wants to go like this instead of being neutral, or how it wants to go like that. So that's it, not to scare you. It's just life. That's what our bodies do. Anyway, I'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend.